Barry Jennings, you were on the 8th floor. You work for the city housing department. Explain to me the moment of impact.
Well, me and Mr. Hesh, the corporation counsel, were on the 23rd floor. I told him we got to get out of here. We started walking down the stairs. We made it to the 8th floor. Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor. And I turned to Hesh. I said, this is it. We're dead. We're not going to make it out of here. I took a fire extinguisher and I bust the window out. That's when this gentleman here heard my cries for help. This gentleman right here, and he kept saying, stand by, somebody's coming to get you.
Underneath the damn thing, all right? Yeah, here's one of the guys who can tell you I'm okay, all right? Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
You gotta get back from here. I know that. You gotta get back.
All right? Don't worry about me. You need to make calls right now. All right, that's...
Yeah, hi. I am just about between 5 and 10 blocks north of the actual site of where those two towers have come down. We're obviously having a bit of trouble right now maintaining our location because we just heard one more explosion. That's about the fourth one we've heard. The police are telling us they're either car bombs or they are simply cars that have overheated so much that they're exploding. But
gas, another one. Hours after the attack, many smaller explosions rumbled through downtown.
Listen, the 4-1 should have taken a couple of companies that they were leaving back to us that were stuck on the tunnel. So that, they must be busy doing that. Check that out, all right?
We are getting information now that one of the other buildings, Building 7 in the World Trade Center complex, is on fire and has either collapsed or is collapsing.
You hear that?
Keep your eye on that building as we coming down.
Building is about to blow up. Move it back.
All right, guys?
We are looking back. There's a building about to blow up. On flame. Debris coming down.
in fact, you were just told by police that you should move out of your apartment, Fabiana. Yes. You've got Carolina here?
Yes. They advised us to leave because we have...
Oh, my God. Look behind us. Please pan in this way, please. Be careful of your baby. This is it.
That's the building coming down.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. No. No.
Just in the last few seconds, another building, building number 7, one of the buildings in support of the World Trade Center towers, has collapsed. This is no small building, as you can see, at 47 stories. It would stand out in most American cities.
Building 7, a 47-story building as part of the World Trade Center complex, collapsed. That building had been, we were told, completely evacuated.
Countless number of fatalities, even more injuries, and the tolls continue to rise as we speak. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center collapsed this morning after 2 hijacked planes crashed into them, and a third building in New York City imploded just a short time ago. That right there is called the number 7 World Trade Center building. It happened within the last hour. The 47-story office building had already been evacuated.
The New York City Police Department has a report that the FBI is responding to New Jersey because a truck reportedly loaded with explosives has been stopped by authorities on the road there, and the men with that truck have been detained. Members of the Joint Terrorist Task Force, according to the New York police officials, are responding to question those people.
And word late tonight that 2 suspects are in FBI custody after a truckload of explosives was discovered around the George Washington Bridge. That bridge links New York to New Jersey over the Hudson River. Whether the discovery of those explosives has anything to do with other events of the day is unclear, but the FBI has 2 suspects in hand, said the truck load of explosives, enough explosives were in the truck to do great damage to the George Washington Bridge. But they arrested the 2 suspects and they're questioning them as we speak.
It's safe to say that you agree with the premise that the Twin Towers, and especially Building 7, were brought down with other means than just a plane hit.
I believe so, yes. Yes. I personally, yes.
Yeah, what the fuck? What did we do? We made it outside. We made it about a block.
We made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was like, it was if they had detonated.
Detonated.
They were planning to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
All the way down. I was watching it and running.
Have you
been down there?
Yes, I have.
How's it going?
They need a lot of heavy equipment to get everybody out.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot of heavy steel in the street.
Do you think there's a lot of people alive still?
I really don't want to speculate.
What does it look like down there?
Looks like a war zone. All the steel from the building, all the facade from the building, there's papers everywhere. You know, it's devastating, very devastating.
Do you know people who passed?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Thanks for your good work.
And you said you saw melted tour buses, melted cars?
The cars that were right down there, it was just unbelievable. They were twisted and melted into nothing. The debris is just unbelievable. And then you can see fire trucks and police vehicles that were down there early that all their windows, the windshields are completely blown out must have been from when debris dropped.
People who have been right down next to the base of what was the trade towers say there's virtually nothing left, maybe a few flights of stairs, a few stories of one of the buildings, but that when they came down there was so much melting and so much demolishing of any kind of structure that they cannot imagine much being left or much hope of finding anybody alive. But we had ABC crews come back just in the last few minutes, including correspondent Don Daler, telling us there are still flames coming out of the base of the trade towers. They're pouring water onto it, trying to get the trade towers themselves cooled down enough to move into the very center of it.
Actually melted beams where it was molten steel that was being dug out.
You'd get down below and you'd see molten steel running down the channel rails. Like you're in a foundry. Like lava.
They are looking, they think, at specks of steel that used to be beams and elevators, marble from the lobby floor and facings. So what were once the strongest architectural elements in the two towers were pulverized, large portions turned into clouds like this one. Still, there is this mystery. If some of the hardest materials were vaporized, how to account for the presence everywhere of paper, fully intact letters, business forms, stationery. Paper is so fragile and combustible, and yet somehow, maybe because we have so much of it, it was everywhere.
This is a fire truck. This is a badly, badly charred fire truck. And it's one of the few things in this valley that has been actually kind of cleaned off and hosed off. Because it means a lot to these guys. I mean, you can see it's absolutely, absolutely destroyed. The tires are burned, all the rigging is destroyed. And they're using it sort of as a table, as a setup area. And it really means a lot to them.
You have 2 110-story office buildings. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone I found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big. The building collapsed to dust. How are we supposed to find anybody in this, that there's nothing left of the building?
Pieces as well. You're sort of just this sensation of being in something of a valley, and it's just everything is smashed to atoms. There are no big pieces of anything. In the 2 hours that I was there, I saw at least 10 body bags being lifted out, and they seem to find 2 and 3 sets of remains, and they used dogs. They called the dogs in, and the dogs have been there for, I'm sure, quite some time. In fact, before I left, they actually retired the dogs. The dogs actually got very fatigued.
You see how this debris is still smoking? That's from the fires that are still burning. 8 weeks later, we still got fires burning. Every now and then, one of the pieces of equipment will dig in, they'll open up a small area, the oxygen will rush in, and you'll get this plume of brown, black smoke coming up. That's because that fire just got more oxygen. So, I mean, these things are burning. At one point, I think they were about 2,800 degrees.